Hello YouTube, Messenger Bala here with another video. Now this time I want to discuss something that caught my attention, and you could say I delve into this character because in my opinion he's probably one of the well-made, thought out character ever made in fictional. Now I know that's a long stretch and I know I'm over exaggerating what I'm saying, but this character, he really did make me think about what an evil village will be in real life. And this character really hit the nail on the head, despite that everything about the universe of where this character is from is purely fictional, and everything is fictional. Basically, to get to the point, this character is from Warhammer Fantasy, and of course, for those of you who know Warhammer Fantasy, they kind of got discontinued and remade into Age of Sigmar, which a lot of fans got pissed because they essentially, abandoned and discontinued all the models, all the lore, everything that's about it, etc., etc. But the only company that was keeping it alive and actually thriving through the lore, the old lore, is the Total War from Sega. The game developers of Sega, they made a video game called Total War Warhammer 3, and that game, it's really fun. If you love strategy games, I recommend it. But anyway, back to the main subject of this video. What I want to discuss is basically this individual, this fictional character. Despite that this character is fictional, some of his basic character is very, very realistic. So realistic, in fact, that it literally got me thinking, like deep introverted thinking, because I feel like it's that deep. Like when something is well made, it gets you thinking about it, and I feel like that's how art and anything that's art related, such as making a storybook, making art design, character design, etc., etc., anything media related, art related, it's supposed to compel you, it's supposed to make you think. And this character definitely made me think because this character was very realistic in terms of being evil, being selfish. And what an evil person in the real world, like an evil, let's just say CEO, general, president, etc., somebody in a position of power, an evil person in a position of power, how he will behave, act like. And I gotta admit, this is very realistic. Some people will disagree with me because obviously it's fictional, but the thing is that you gotta pay attention to the lore. Sorry guys, if you guys hearing weird sound, there's a lot of noise going on. But anyway, back to the video. There's a lot of lore in this character because the people who made the Warhammer Fantasy universe, they've done a very good job in making world building. And this character has a lot of depth, and this character, he definitely has some realistic traits and characters that makes him what he is. This character, his name is Sale the Faithless. And Sale the Faithless, the reason why he has the title the Faithless is because in the lore, he is known for backstabbing people, betraying people, and he's known for basically throw people under the bus when things are no longer convenient for him, no longer beneficial for him. And if that makes you wonder, or should I say, if that reminds you of something, then yes, this is what I'm basically trying to say. This character is very realistic in that regard. He is super realistic. And it turns out this character also has a fan base. When I was looking up pictures of him, it turns out there was some modding in the mod community where it introduced this character, and of course his tribe and his faction, because he's a leader of a faction. And once again, if this character is realistic, as if he was a CEO, a corrupted general, corrupted government official, president, etc., etc. Because, the character traits of what makes him evil. I know I keep saying that a lot, but what I'm trying to get at is that sometimes art is a reflection of our reality, and I'll repeat that sentiment throughout my YouTube channel. So when you guys pay attention to media through art, through storybooks, if you really do pay attention, you will notice that these are relatable stuff that we see in the real world. That's why memes, internet memes, are popular. But anyway, this character sailed the Faithless, despite that there was a fan base community that loved this character a lot. Total War, the franchise, the developers decided to implement him in the game full-fledged, and they've done it faithfully and well made. So here, there's a picture here in game how he looks like. He looks just like the tabletop. The tabletop and in game looks almost identical, and I really like that. I really like it when developers of a video game company are faithful to the source, and when they're faithful to the source, they tend to make the source look good, accurate, and more importantly, they maintain a theme, and that theme is essentially a bad guy who throw people under the bus, who's very selfish. And what's very interesting about him, since he has the title The Faithless, aside from being a backstabber, throwing people under the bus, he does not worship any gods. In the lore, it's stated that there are 4 Chaos Gods. For those of you who don't know anything about Warhammer, and the 4 Chaos God is Slaanesh, Nurgle, Siege, and Khorne. And of course, there's a sub-faction called Chaos Undivided. But Sail the Faithless, he does not worship neither of those. Matter of fact, he sort of worship all 4 of them, but very sparsely. And the reason why I say very sparsely is because he just worshipped them to benefit for himself. And the Chaos God, they kind of know that, and he's very paranoid because of that. And that right there, the paranoia, that's something very realistic when it comes to bad guys, when it comes to criminals, when it comes to evil people. Evil people, they tend to be paranoid for a good reason. Now, me personally, guys, I'm paranoid, but the reason why I'm paranoid is because I want to do things properly, and I do fear repercussion, and I do fear authority in some way. But criminals, bad guys, you notice that their paranoia is through the roof when it comes to getting caught, when it comes to the consequences going after them. Me personally, I don't really fear the consequences. I just fear the social pressure and having setbacks that makes things worse. So as a result, I tend to be a little more confrontal when it's necessary. I do not mind being confrontal when it's necessary, but I still have that fear. I still have the fear of authority. I still have the fear of social pressure, and I do have the fear of getting a little setback. But that's why in my last video, if you guys seen my last video, I was talking about playing your part. Playing your part because we're in the team. There are expectations for ourselves to do, and if we play our part, we get to have nice things, nice time, a good time, and things will basically have your way. But when it comes to bad people, what I really like about this character is his ambition for power. And I feel like this is super realistic because in my last video I stated that in the Bible it did mention that the devil, or should I say Satan, he's sort of like the ruler of the world. And the reason why the world is evil is because it's something relatable to that. Like, evil is essentially very dominant in this planet. That's why there's an old saying, the good die young. And sadly, that's a very sad thing for people to say that, but there's a reason why evil sort of run this planet. And because Sale the Faithless, has a huge ambition to pursue power, he would do anything to get it. That includes betraying people. And what's even sad is that he's a leader of a tribe. So in the game, especially when you play the video game, he's essentially a leader of a tribe, and he's known to betray other people. That's why he holds a staff that has two-headed snakes wrapped around it, because he's essentially a snake. But he's also gifted. He's also smart. And just like how the real world is, how everything is transactional, Sale the Faithless, he's a leader, and he managed to make his tribe, make his people live very comfortably, and his people benefit from him, from his leadership. That's why he ended up being the leader. But his ambition for power is unmistaken. That's why people fear him, and they sort of respect him in a sort of funny way, just like how we respect politicians in real life. And sometimes politicians are corrupted. We know they're corrupted, but people, they have to respect those politicians because they're essentially our leader. So why I'm making this video? I'm making this video because, once again, art is a reflection of our reality. And Sale the Faithless, he's a very well-made character, and I see him as a very realistic evil character. And sometimes wonder, is evil as natural, or is it something that we sort of miss the spot or miss viewing something important when it comes to evil? One of the philosophers that I'm interested in reading is a philosopher called Marcus Aurelius. Yeah, I'm very terrible at name. And Marcus Aurelius is, you could say, he's a dark philosopher, talking about the nature of evil, the nature of power, the nature of humans. And me personally, I want to do a lot of good things in the world, but the problem is the world is very evil, and there's a lot of setbacks when it comes to doing good things. That's why there's an old saying, the road to hell is paved with good intention. And I sometimes wonder if you have to get your hands dirty if you want to do great things. Some of our history, such as Alexander the Great, there's without a doubt that they got their hands dirty just to do great things. So it makes me wonder if there's something that we sort of miss when it comes to evil things, evil stuff. In other words, if the ends justifies the means, if there's a certain evil that we have to take, a certain action that we have to get our hands dirty in order to have the rest of our tribe, our fellow countrymen, get clean. There was a quote from Call of Duty that a lot of people like this quote. It's when the captain said, "We get our hands dirty for the worlds to stay clean." So, makes me wonder about that. And this is why I like this character. This character, he is evil, without a doubt. But he is a type of evil that's kind of like neither beneficial towards the villains, or should I say the Chaos Gods, but he's also beneficial towards his people. Because once again, Sale the Faithless, he's a leader of a tribe, and he doesn't really worship the Chaos Gods. In the universe of Warhammer Fantasy, when people worship the Chaos God, they gain immortality, but to do that, they have to commit certain evil acts to the point where it's basically about them. And when people gain immortality, or they're ambitious to pursue immortality, they are willing to throw anyone under the bus. It doesn't matter, family or friends, anyone. But Sale the Faithless, he's sort of different because he doesn't worship properly of all the 4 Chaos God, because what he wants to do is become his own, how do I say this, his own glory. He doesn't want to serve, he wants to be a leader. But to do that, he has to get his hand dirty, and he has to essentially get rid of people that no longer benefits for him. In other words, throw people under the bus. Hence, Cell the Faithless. And in the game and in the lore, it's stated that he did throw a lot of people under the bus, including his mentor, his friends, and eventually he met his demise because once again, Total War Warhammer Fantasy is sort of discontinued, and they already made the end time storyline where everything basically ended. And Cell the Faithless, he did not survive the end. He got headshot just to have a happy ending. Well, technically, Warhammer Fantasy it did not have a happy ending if you guys read the book. But yeah, I really do enjoy this character, and this character is very interesting. Got me thinking because it's one of those characters that's very realistic, and it did make me think because once again, art is a reflection of our reality. So guys, I want to hear your thoughts, your opinion about this character, and please leave a comment down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear it, and I will respond, I promise. Message in a bottle, over and out.